So we're heading into a seasonally what tends to be more volatile period. We, of course, this year continue to have COVID to deal with. We have an election. We have an economy that, if you measure it in many ways, is not doing well. But there's going to be a lot of opportunities. So I want to just start off this month with a couple of charts to kind of give you some perspective around things. First of all, we're going to start off with this chart, and this is a chart that I think it's always so important to look at different asset classes. So what this chart does is it shows us equities, then credit and of both grades, investment grade and non-investment grade, base metals, and essentially treasuries. And you can see that according to all these asset classes, except for equities, they are all baking in some sort of a probability of a recession in the United States. So the equity market is telling us a very different picture. And then I keep coming back to this. I think the equity market is really in a situation where we have extreme behavior, extreme market cap concentration, and just a few mega cap tech names unrelated. And ultimately, this is going to be a problem for the indices. So just kind of keep that in mind and kind of park this for a minute. But at the same time, I think this is important. You know, one of the things that we need to understand is that if, let's assume, we get into a situation where we have a vaccine or a really good way to cure this COVID thing and, you know, something really good, I honestly think we could see another rally in equities, but it'll probably be different names. And I think that could be where we could see rotation out of some of the tech names, at least for a period of time, and into what I consider to be real economy stocks, at least by old definitions, industrial names like, for example, Boeing, the airlines, anything related to, entertainment, like, for example, that's not digital, like, for example, Disney would probably benefit with theme parks. So to kind of give you an idea on this, I'm going to keep it very simple. But again, of course, we first still need to have a cure in that. So if there is good news, surprisingly good news, maybe it comes quicker than we think, maybe it comes later, I have no clue, right? But when we get that, I could see I would imagine we see a major rally, not necessarily in the S&P 500, and again, I would assume not necessarily in a stock like Apple, but in these real economy stocks that allow people to go out and do stuff again, right? So look at, for example, Boeing, just to kind of give you some perspective. You can see the stock obviously got hit very hard. They've had other problems, of course, before the COVID-19 situation, but we continue to kind of consolidate, and ultimately the presumption would be that if you get good news, and again, that's the catalyst, you need that, you could see a continuation to the upside in a name like this. So that would be, I'm trying to find an error here to kind of annotate this a bit. You would see something like this. Not too dissimilar to something like United Airlines, right? I mean, the airlines are starting to, this week, they announced they are getting rid of permanently, apparently, or at least whatever permanently means, of change fees for domestic U.S. flights. And so here, too, you could imagine that if we were to get some sort of surprisingly good news again, whether it's sooner or later, I don't know. But when that happens, I would imagine you could see really, really strong rallies out of these kind of names. Even Caterpillar, which quite frankly already is starting to look a lot better than I think a lot of people give it credit to. There's an inflation story there, but I think if we were to get surprisingly good news, something like a Caterpillar could see a release to the upside. So I just kind of wanted to give you some perspective. As much as we have a lot of volatility, I think, to deal with through the autumn, if we were to see some sort of a situation where we were to get, again, some sort of a positive news a headline or series of headlines on the vaccine front and treatment front. Again, I don't proclaim that I know that will happen. I have absolutely no idea. But if and when that happens, we're watching this stuff very, very closely. The Boeings, the airlines, again, the Disneys of the world, that could end up acting very, very well. And really that could lead to another surge in equities. But again, I think that's where you're going to see a lot of sector rotation, to maybe out of tech at least for a period, and into some of these industrial names. So anyway, folks, I hope that helps. We will keep you abreast of all this. Stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you soon.